Greetings, aspiring spooksters. Are you tired of AAA horror's streamlined and coherent narratives? Do you want to hold back the genre as a whole? Do you dream of making a game so terrifying, audiences will need therapy and insulin? Then unleash your inner Ed Wood with these essential ingredients for the hottest indie horror experience. Today, we unlock the secrets to crafting a chilling masterpiece. Remember, forget scares, we're going for vibes, man, vibes.
Aw, sweet. Does that mean I finally get to see some spooks?
No. For this to be effective, you're either a dumb teenager, an abusive husband, or an emotional woman. And for blatant sexism, since women aren't seen as capable in a scary setting. You're either the character that dies at the beginning or the one that gets turned into the monster.
Dang it. I wanted to see the spooks.
Hiya, Spence. Stuck in the featureless void as well, huh?
Apparently not, since I'm not good enough to be the protagonist. I'll just hubble to the corner here.
And probably a second woman. One who's wearing much less clothing and will probably be featured on the box art.
Hey, I'm wearing this because we live in the tropics.
And Rocco thinks you're cute in them.
Well, maybe.
You could try some lighter clothes instead of less. I know a gorgeous top that would look stunning on you.
Oh, shucks, you're making me blush.
Anyway, first visuals. Ditch the fancy 3D, embrace the pixelated charm. Think Atari, but with more existential dread. Blocky visuals scream authentic chills, even if they look like your grandma knitted the textures. Think blocky shadows, blurry monsters, and environments that look like they were designed with a potato. Remember, true horror comes from not knowing what lurks in the 8-bit abyss. Don't forget the dithering of doom.
The less I can see, the less scary it is. Like, should I just close my eyes and imagine something horrifying? That's way better. Thanks.
Pixel art can be great, but making it mandatory because it's retro is lazy. This isn't even retro. Even back then, they tried to push the limits of technology. This is more indie pretending to be retro, without understanding what makes it beautiful.
Seriously, have you seen the new Haunted Toaster? It's like watching a seizure in a microwave. Do you think if they had a choice back then, they'd choose a pixel filter? Or only using 3 colors? I can't even tell what I'm doing.
I'm doing obscene gestures.
Next dialogue. Cram an exposition like a Thanksgiving turkey. Make your characters endlessly discuss existential dread, childhood trauma, and their love for obscure indie bands. Bonus points if they quote outdated memes ironically. Players love endless exposition dumps, cryptic clues delivered in riddles, and characters explaining every single action. Who needs tension when you have word vomit? Let's ditch the actual scares and focus on long, meandering conversations about the protagonist's crippling student loan debt and the meaninglessness of existence.
Because who needs scares when you can bore the audience into submission with existential navel-gazing?
Ugh, talk about killing the suspense. Let the environment tell the story, people. We're not watching paint dry.
Now let's talk atmosphere. Embrace the analog horror aesthetic. Distort VHS recordings, add glitching text, and throw in some black and white filter for good measure. Bonus points if you make the protagonist film everything on their phone, conveniently forgetting they have a flashlight, a real camera, tools or technology of any sort. Bonus points if you can make it look like someone filmed it on a trash can.
It certainly is an aesthetic. It's like a participation trophy for teenage angst. And don't get me started on the analog horror trend. Just because you filmed your friend walking backwards in a hallway with a broken TV doesn't make it unsettling. It's just bad filmmaking.
Analog horror can be creepy, but just throwing random glitches at the screen isn't scary. It's like giving someone epilepsy instead of chills. What you doing, Jess?
Shaking my aesthetics.
You go, girl!
Don't forget the foolhardy protagonist. One who waltzes into the most haunted, cursed location on Earth without a flashlight, a weapon, or a sliver of common sense. Ignorance is bliss, and a key ingredient to ensuring inevitable doom.
And let's make sure those protagonists are so unrelatable I actually root for the monster. Can't stand 1 ounce of competence in horror, can we?
Sometimes they can't run or jump or even duck. I always imagine them having a broken leg or something. Those poor dears.
But nothing truly disturbs the modern player like that chilling scourge, faking depression. Sprinkle in some angst-ridden monologues, romanticized mental illness, and a color palette grayer than a Seattle winter. That's real horror, kids.
Exploiting real mental health issues because... art? Really? That's your idea of disturbing? Get some help, dude.
Indie horror isn't a therapy session. It's supposed to be scary. Boo!
Finally, pacing. Don't rush into the scares. Make your players wash dishes, fold laundry, and collect 20 rusty keys before even a hint of spookiness. Remember, true terror comes from the mundane. Tidying rooms, sorting files, activities of sheer terror so mind-numbing, they're left wishing for the sweet release of a horrific death. The scares can wait. Gotta establish that slow burn atmosphere.
Are you kidding me? Who wants to do chores in a horror game?
Wait, are we in a survival horror game or a to-do list simulator? If I wanted to fold laundry, I'd do it in real life.
But the irony, the meta-commentary.
Oh, right, the art. Look, I get it. Indie horror is supposed to be different, but this formulaic nonsense is killing the genre. We need originality, scares that actually scare, and protagonists who don't act like they're auditioning for a college improv troupe.
Indie horror can be creative, atmospheric, and genuinely scary. We don't need to follow some formulaic hipster checklist.
Fine. We can add one jump scare at the very end for a cheap thrill.
Boo!
Ah!